Okay, good morning, everybody. Glad to see you again. Um, we usually like to start. Is there anybody who's new to us today? Anybody new today? Going once? Going twice? Okay, well, let's just get into the agenda. First of all, as always, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Um, excuse me. So, Care First Health Plan, Karen Ziegler Consulting Services, Valley Telecom, Khajiit, and Triad. And let me change this before. Okay. So this morning, I'm going to just jump into it. This morning, the folks from I don't know, is there anybody from the broadband office here this morning? I know Aaron and Kelly could not be here this morning. Anybody else from the broadband office here today? Okay. Well, just quickly, I will do a quickie update. And I'm sure there's other stuff, but I just wanted to make sure we mentioned and did include it in my newsletter, which, by the way, again, a reminder that most of the stuff that has links and announcements and events and things like that are included in my newsletter. So if you miss it, you should be able to pick it up there. And also, I do send out, as you all know, I send out the chat and the transcript and the video and everything after the meeting. And so again, if you missed anything, you should be able to pick that up. And then again, reminder that if you hear something that's in the chat and you want to capture it today, you can go to chat at the upper right-hand corner. There's three ellipses. If you click on that, you can download the chat to your computer. Because I know that we have links and things like that it's sometimes hard to capture. So just wanted to mention that. So the only thing I'm going to mention from the broadband office, and if anybody's got anything else they want to add, please jump in. That you may already know that the governor has launched Connect All Arizona, a new initiative to ensure all Arizonans have access to information about statewide broadband. So they have an excellent new website, Connect All Arizona, and the link is on my page here, and will also be included.
My cursor, there it is.
In the in my newsletter.
I'm on the broadband.
Ellen, could you please mute?
Do you need something?
Okay. I don't believe Nicole is here this morning. Are you, Nicole?
Steve, I have a little brief update as well. I was on the call for BEAD open office hours yesterday, and Kelly did say the project areas would be published on Monday, the 23rd.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. If not, let's move on the agenda. And we're glad to see Beth Neely here today. Beth is the CIO for the Arizona Department of Education. Beth, haven't seen you for a while, and you got some updates for us today.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Can I just share? I've got one slide, and then I can send it over to you if you want to send it out to everybody. So hello, everybody.
I'll stop sharing and let you share your slide.
Do that. There it is. Share. Tell me if everyone can.
Yep.
You can see it?
Yep.
Okay, so you see the broadband. I don't see it, but that's okay. As long as you guys are seeing it. So really quick, I just wanted to stop back in. I know I was in a couple of months ago to talk to you guys about the loss of a Mylan to the Department of Education. So I wanted to stop back in, give you guys an update on where we're at. So our first round of trying to hire Mylan's replacement didn't go well. So we could not find a really strong candidate that we felt comfortable with. So matter of fact, in a couple of hours, we're beginning another round of interviews with another round of candidates for the position. So I wanted to let you guys know that you still have me.
Yeah, Beth, just excuse me a second. So I think most of the people here probably know Mylan, but just to remind people about what Mylan's job was.
Okay, Mylan was our broadband project manager for ADE. So and he left, gosh, I don't even know now. It's been maybe 4 months, 5 months. So about 4 or 5 months ago. So I'm backfilling his position as the broadband coordinator.
You're breaking up, Beth. Think you froze.
Now.
There you go.
I think it's just you, Steve. She was fine for me.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
Because
as
my
well.
internet connection is unstable. Okay.
So we're starting another round of interviews today. Looking for a really strong candidate, looking for somebody that has got some broadband experience. So that is surprisingly difficult. But I always say if I can learn it in 4 or 5 months, I'm sure that we can get someone that can cover that. So I just want to give you an update. Still got me, still doing everything I can, working with the schools. But I do want to say that we've made a few changes. So we've been looking for some process improvements in the area. So we've got a couple different improvements on our process, kind of streamlines things. You guys can find that on our website. There is a link to it right here. Tell me if you can see when I slide over the web page. You see the new website?
Yes.
Okay, so the link is in the slide deck, and again, I'll send it to Steve that he can share. So you might want to go out there. There's a new process for our broadband standard work, a new state match funding request form that we're using, very similar to the one that has been used before. Example of an RF bid evaluation sheet, how we evaluate special construction projects. So we're building that out a little bit as we're learning. So you'll find some updates there. Also, we have a new email address to reach out to the team. Right now, it's a team of one. In the future, hopefully it's a team of more than one. So it's broadband@az.gov. So if anybody has any questions, comments, or you are going to be working on any special construction projects for E-rate schools, that's your best place to start. It's currently still in recruitment, and I've had a lot of questions come from people on how much funding is left. And currently, I think it's actually 3,034,000 if you want the specifics. But currently, right now, there's still approximately $3 million in the fund available for the projects. And currently, we've got 4 schools signed up for 2025, hoping to see a few more come in for this year. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew I'm still here. Best way to reach out is through that broadband email. And hopefully I can come back in a month or two and introduce our new broadband PM, who then will be joining this meeting a little more regularly. I unfortunately have a day job, so sometimes it doesn't allow me to make this meeting on Thursdays, but I wanted to make sure I stopped by today to give you guys an update.
So Beth, is that position that Mylan had a broadband job, or is it focused primarily on E-rate?
No, it's broadband. It's broadband. We're going to focus on broadband. There has been a little bit of confusion on what the job specifically entails. But if you guys go out to our website, now I just lost the website. Hang on a minute. We're trying to provide enough information for everybody to understand all of the E-rate resources that are available to everyone, whether it's through USAC, all of the different tools, and then actually the statutes regarding E-rate And then, but this position's focus will be on broadband special construction projects.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, thanks, Beth. Good to see you.
You're welcome. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you guys have a great couple of weeks and get
Thanks.
some rest.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, good. Bye now. Okay, so what's not on the agenda, but I want to make sure we give her some time, is Judy Soltrip, who many of you know is with Senator Mark Kelly's office. She's been a great supporter for us, arranged for us to get an update last week. But Judy, you want to kind of give us a quickie follow up what we were talking about before the meeting started?
Hi. Yeah, you were asking about the continuation of the budget, and I think at this point, it's very up in the air. The senator is back in Washington, D.C. We don't know. The decision needs to be made by Friday, which is tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. We have had a shutdown in the state before, and I think it really affects public lands. Coming over Christmas, that could be a problem for people's vacations and things like that. But some of the other funding does continue. For instance, the post office does continue. However, there are some cuts in there. And then like the Social Security office, I think they only allow the managers to come in. So any of the federal agencies that need to be working with the public, that could be a problem. So we're hoping that they come to resolution, and that's all I have right now.
Okay. Any questions for Judy? Lots of like we've been titling some of our updates in the past. There's things we know, things we think we know, and things we don't know. Mark, did you have something you wanted to talk about?
Sure. I was surprised to see I was tracking my clients' work, and they just got their $25 million grant formally in Alaska for a community called Hooper Bay yesterday. But as part of that announcement, I was reviewing, Cox also got an award for $14.8 million down in Cochise, Pima, and Pinal counties. The announcement does not include a list of the specific communities, but says it will benefit, thus connect 6,579 people, 88 businesses, 2 farms, 9 educational facilities. So Cox may be able to provide more details on the exact communities in Cochise, Pima, and Pinal.
Yeah, actually, Mark, I had also included it on the agenda for today, so thank you. I did see that. Okay, let's move on to the agenda. We have a couple of awesome presentations this morning. Give me just a second here to share. So we have a couple of presentations this morning from people who've been pretty regular attendees at these meetings. And so I'm going to start with Paul Ross, who's the Associate Vice President and Chief Information Officer at Phoenix College and a doctoral student in the College of Doctoral Studies at Grand Canyon University. And for those of you who have been attending these meetings and have heard from Paul, he's doing amazing work. I always tease him about, do you ever get any time off and to sleep? Because of all the amazing work that he's doing. So with that, Paul, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to stop sharing, and I assume you may have some things to share. Paul, are you there? There he is.
You may be mute.
Paul, are you there? Are you muted?
Yep. All right. There we go. We're good and moving now. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna whip through a few things because I do like to work at a little bit of a fast pace, but I'm going to share a few things with you about what's going on. One, with the research that I'm conducting. Two, the grant we have right now at Phoenix College, which is an NTIA CMC grant, Connecting Minority Communities grant. I'm also going to share a little bit about workforce education relating to an NSF grant that I'm also leading that's entering into its 6th year at Phoenix College. And then finally, as part of that presentation, I've got a world first for you. So I'm going to save that till the very end, but I'm going to whip through so that way I can make sure that John has some time as well. Otherwise, I know I could probably consume the whole day. All right, so let's just start a little bit about me. Yes, that is me. I have been up a pole when it's been 115 degrees at 80 feet high, putting CBRS Wi-Fi equipment actually on a pole. So I've seen our lovely area of Phoenix at a somewhat different vantage point to quite a few people. And you could say that I'm a CIO that goes from the cloud to the closet, or the closet to the cloud. I really like to cover the whole spectrum of things. And I've had the privilege of working in multiple education environments, both here in the US and also in Australia. And currently, as Steve was saying, I'm a doctoral candidate focusing on learning and technology at the Grand Canyon University. So being a doctoral candidate, I'm involved in some research, and it's taken me about 4.5 years to get to this point, and I'm conducting a study. And so I'm just sharing with you right now on screen my problem statement and my purpose statement. And it's really about trying to identify the solutions to close the digital divide, but also identifying the factors and the barriers that actually contribute to it. And so it's about building a conceptual model. And a lot of the existing models that we have out there are very, I would say, limited, or they're focused on a particular facet, such as access. And there's a lot of models that are focused on technology use. So I'm envisaging creating a model that actually tries to capture the phenomena, to really bring it all into context. And the model is actually going to be very extensive and based on existing research and the research I'm conducting, and also upcoming interviews where there's a solicitation that's going to go out shortly for people. So hopefully I can interview between 20 and 50 people to contribute to the study. So as I said, right now I've identified about 450 plus components and about 23 domains of knowledge that actually group the components. And part of this has actually been looking at all the material that I can really put my hands on that has been published. And YouTube is a great treasure trove of resources. I've actually listened to videos as long as 3 hours long to as long as 3 minutes. And what's surprising is that in some of the video that I've analyzed, some of the best gems are actually in that 10 to 15-minute range. Some of the 3-hour ones, you get just as much content in the 15-minute one instead of listening for 3 hours. But this has been a very extensive study, and some of the domains, as you can see on screen there, sociological, psychological, technological, governmental, educational, service. And those are just a few of the domains that I'm starting to delve into. And so what we're trying to do is I'm trying to interview people next, and that's the next phase within my research. And so that interview solicitation is going to go out in about 3 different channels to hopefully be able to gather people who will volunteer their time to interview with me to contribute to the model. And so I'm really looking forward to that. On screen, you can actually see a mind map of mine that I had created relating to a vision for closing the digital divide. And that's just a sample of a component of a mind map that I've created. And that was created several years ago now, just around the COVID time.
Paul, can I interrupt for 1 second?
Certainly.
So he is he is looking for people to interview, and I will be sending out that solicitation to to our folks.
Thank you, Steve. So then we have the CMC grant. Well, the CMC grant, it's a 2-year grant. We're currently in the throes of going for a no-cost extension for 1 year to be able to conclude and achieve the goals of the grant that we set out to do. And so this is actually the mind map that led to the development of our Connecting Minority Communities grant. And I know this looks like a lot. It is a lot. There's a lot of information here. But this is how I put together thoughts when I'm developing grants or developing an idea. And so what we did was we applied for this grant. And as we know, it was a nationally competitive grant. And there were 93 awardees nationally, and we were the highest funded community college out of 15 nationally. And we were the 7th highest funded out of all 93 awardees nationally. So our Phoenix College really had a good representation on that. So what's that mean? Well, the grant actually has multiple components. You traditionally will see many grants where people will apply for a particular project or a particular activity. We decided to go with more of a mindset, well, everything is interconnected and let's put the pieces together. In other words, we're trying to put together a puzzle. And so what you see on screen, some of the components that actually comprise the grant itself. So it's everything from hotspots to laptops where, for instance, we've developed a loan-to-own program. So students who qualify are granted a laptop, but it's not theirs until they meet the requirements as they go through their coursework and meet certain credit requirements and such. And then we're developing new curriculum. So one thing that's exciting is that we are actually developing 2 brand new 6-credit certificate courses. And they are focused on wireless technologies and also the digital divide, and I'll mention that in just a moment. Other pieces that we are actually doing is we're actually upgrading some of our campus broadband capabilities. So putting in gigabit point-to-point wireless networks, in other words, not having to lay new fiber cable between certain buildings and certain satellite campuses. We're able to do a line of sight point-to-point gigabit network. And that is currently in development right now. And we're also supporting the Guadalupe Center. The Guadalupe Center, which is part of South Mountain Community College, we are actually funding about 200 students to go through their BPC 110 program, which is like an entry-level computing course to be able to get people back into learning and into education. And so we're helping fund that effort as well. So our 2 new certificates that we're working on right now actually have not been approved. They are currently going through the approval process and will be reviewed by the governing board, hopefully in the next couple of months. But it's 2. One of them is emerging technologies, digital and wireless technologies, and the second one is wireless optimization. And it is really built around digital literacy, digital divide, closing it. And you can see by the titles of the courses that we are definitely updating the courses. And we've actually even just changed one title in the last 24 hours, and I have to update that now. But our grant is actually going to fund 48 students to go through this certificate program. Now, we're going to be looking at starting that in the spring. So stay tuned for an announcement regarding that. But we are going to actually fund the tuition cost for 48 students to go through that program. And so that will be a great buzz, a great opportunity for our folks here in Arizona to be able to link in. And so that will be an incredible opportunity there to go through and do 12 credits with the tuition paid for by the grant, which will then hopefully help our corresponding communities. So then we have workforce development and internships. Well, we're working with different educational and private partners. And we are working with, at the moment, educational partners like Arizona Western College, Central Arizona College, and we're offering students internships and externships. And we're also working with ASU and Excelencia as well. And we're trying to provide our students with access to workforce experiences. Now, the way that can look like is currently in our computer science major area, information technology, we are minority majority in terms of the students that we represent in part of our program. And then when you look at the connected fields of interest, application development is extremely high, followed by networking and cybersecurity. And so we have a large number of students. We now offer a bachelor's degree in IT. And since we've offered that, our enrollment numbers have increased substantially. And so we are seeing a lot of participation in there. And in many of the classes, the majority is minority female. And so I want to mention that because we're seeing a large number of females enter into the field and female minorities as well. And so that's actually significant to make note of there. And so what are we doing? Well, part of our internship experience, like for instance, over summer, we ran an 8 to 10 week internship experience. And the students were generally involved for about 10 hours per week. And there's about 20 students. And so we are looking for our next internship and externship locations for spring and also for next summer. So if you have a business or you know of a business that's interested in hosting a cohort of students on a particular project or has a desire, please reach out to me. I really want to connect because we potentially have a great number of students that we could match. And through the NSF grant, we actually pay them minimum wage to be able to participate. And the internship experience can be up to about 240 hours long. And so we can tailor that as well. It can be less, but we're looking for employer opportunities to work with where our students can get more hands-on work and more hands-on practical experience as an internship. So it's a win-win for the college, for the employer, and most importantly, for the student and their future careers. And so this is just a little bit of an outline of something that we went through for this last summer. And we had a cybersecurity and we also had an application development internship where the students actually developed a storyboard application using Figma. And for cybersecurity, they were modeling a K-12 school district and they were modeling a small business. And I'll just jump through that. So as I was saying, with the NSF grant, we certainly are looking for employers to be able to place our students. We do have an email account set up. It's WBE, that stands for Work-Based Experiences, at phoenixcollege.edu. And feel free to give us a call, or you can contact me, or you can use this email, and we'll try and definitely reach out to you and to make that connection. And so, you know, we all like to do things about changing the digital divide. So I wanted to introduce something a little bit different for you today. So hopefully this will come through. This is a song that I have written and composed with the assistance of AI on closing the digital divide for all. And so hopefully, and this is a world first. This has not been seen. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play and we'll see how it goes. And I won't play the whole lot. I'll just play the first minute or so, and then we'll jump over to John. Can you hear it? Can somebody give me a thumbs up? No audio?
Fiber and wireless, answering the call. Satellite signals and networks unite.
Yeah, there it goes.
It's just very low.
Concept to concrete, innovation to play. Crafting solutions for a brighter day. From ground to sky, the future unfolds. With each connection, new stories are told. From fiber lines to Wi-Fi high, satellites soaring in the sky. Innovation sparks, we're leading the way. Restoring crafts and dreams today. We're closing the divide, lighting the way. Through shared networks, shaping today. Education and skills, together aligned. Innovation smart, the future defines. Fiber weaving for towns and streets. Constant progress, realizing dreams. Commercial and community efforts combined. Bringing access to every skyline. Wireless signals bridge every gap. Rural towns to a digital map. Empowered by effort, united in goals. We're shaping the future, connecting souls. From fiber lines to Wi-Fi high.
So I'm going to stop it right there because it certainly goes on for a little bit longer. It's about 4 minutes in length. And so I will drop a direct link to the YouTube music there for you all. But that's a snapshot of some of the things that we've got going on at Phoenix College. And so I appreciate everyone's support and efforts and ongoing questions as well.
So questions or comments for Paul? You know, this is probably just a snippet, Paul, of what's going on in your brain and in your life.
That would be true.
So much with the research that you're doing and the projects and stuff. Okay. Any other questions, comments, or Paul, you have anything else you want to add?
I think that's what I'll stay there for now, but I know that when I do end up having my dissertation all done, I will be inviting everybody to be part of the defense, to listen to the presentation as well. So I'm just going to open it up because there'll be a lot of information and a lot of data shared as well. And so it will be more of an experience than a presentation.
Okay, thanks, Paul. We'll definitely be looking forward to hearing more from you next year. Okay, moving on then. So glad to also welcome, of course, he's been with us many times, but John Haas. Do I pronounce your name correctly, John?
I usually call it Haas, but it doesn't matter. I've been called a lot worse.
He is a professor of cyber intelligence and security at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, College of Business Security and Intelligence, and he's also the director for the Center for the Future, which is a Prescott regional business incubator and accelerator. And John has done a great deal of work, particularly in cybersecurity. And so, John, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to stop sharing if you have anything you need to share.
So let's see if we can make this go full screen and click. So last week, I think December 11th, Wednesday, we had Homeland Security come and do a community safety workshop. And then they did another one down in Phoenix the next day, I believe. And so I thought it might be useful to just show what they're working on, because DHS funds a lot of different things. And we have, as part of DHS, CISA, and so they were there, and it's not everyone knows that they do a lot more than just cyber. So Dr. Kimberly O'Connor is the director of the Arizona.
If I can interrupt, the black box on your screen, is that me? You?
Yeah, let's see if I can just move that out of the way. I should be able to minimize it. Hide video panel.
There you
Did
go.
that do it? Did that do it?
Yep.
Okay. The host was the Arizona Department of Homeland Security, and the head of that, Kimberly O'Connor, kind of introduced, and then I welcomed everyone to Prescott and Embry-Riddle. David from CISA came and spoke briefly, and then Nicole, who's the director of Office of Partner Engagement, spoke just to set the stage, because that's who funded this initiative, and they're doing this not just in Arizona, but all across the country as much as they can. So let's see, click. The first was about Know to Protect. And here's the link, although you guys can't make the link happen, but Steve can send it out. So the Special Agent Austin Barrio from Homeland Security Investigations gave us a story about this initiative called Know to Protect, and I was surprised by the numbers, but 36 million youngsters are victims of exploitation online and in person because people aren't aware that with their mobile phones, with their laptops, with their pads, they can get themselves into trouble. And what starts online can become in person because they'll tell them, oh, let's meet at the mall. So one of their partners is called NECMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And it's a real big deal. So if you have kids or grandkids or know somebody with kids, or if you were once a kid, you may want to find out about this program. And I gave links for it. And there's a special link that is designed for the kids and for teens. And they do a pretty good job of making characters and making it short so that students and kids will stay with it because they're used to, 15-second and 30-second commercials. So Know to Protect is a relatively new project of Homeland Security, and they've got a good bit of materials on it, and every school should probably know about it. And as we add all of these broadband people who have not really spent time online, what a great thing to make them aware of before they get online. The next one was, you've probably all heard of the Fusion Center that we have. There's one in every state. Arizona's was the second after California, and it's called the Arizona Counterterrorism Information Center, or the ACTIC, which is mostly what people call it. It's a security operations center and has all of the different agencies, the FBI, the DPS, tribal, representatives from different places. And so when an event happens, they've already got all of the security operations center phone lines and all things like that coming into the center. And so they wanted to tell people about it. It also is the largest computer forensics lab for Arizona. So if there's something that occurs, likely it gets investigated there at the ACTIC. And all of these fusion centers were established after 9/11, and now they're morphing. And of course, one of the things that we're looking forward to or concerned about is what's the fate of these fusion centers now that we are so many years away. My students, of course, weren't even born and 9/11, the new incoming freshmen. So a lot of people aren't aware of why a lot of these rules and things were created, and sometimes you have to re-educate. So physical security is also a big deal for the Department of Homeland Security. So Daniel, I can't pronounce his name, but he was very interesting. As he says, he's Italian. He didn't use the mic. He talks with his hands, and he gave us a good lowdown along with several videos, short videos that are available. So if you have an organization, retail, a church, a school, or a company, and if you don't have a security planning program, then you can reach out and they will help you create a program. So they talked about, how do you recognize that one of your clients or one of your employees is about to go ballistic? What are some of the behaviors of concern? How do you de-escalate something going wrong? And they also talked about the thing that we don't like, but active shooter, which we had one this very week, where up in the north, at some small school, and how do you prepare? And so they showed a video, and run, hide, fight doesn't necessarily mean in that order. And as he pointed out, you may have to go through it several times. You may have to run and hide, and then somebody gets closer, and you have to run and hide again. So it was a really good talk to remind us that something can go wrong in an instant. and for us to all be available. Plenty of resources on that site that you can find. Then following that was Curtis Tilley of the branch chief, and you wouldn't know that CISA has an Office of Bombing Prevention. I didn't know. And so there's a link here. You can find all these links. They talked about what they're doing to prevent things and threats and how to go about it as an organization. Of course, not all of us feel like we have any concern about it. But again, unfortunately, it's too easy to create homemade bombs, IEDs that came out of the wars of the last 25 years, have shown people how to make these things, and they may not be very effective, but boy, in the local area, it can be devastating if somebody, for some reason, decides they're angry and they want to go online and they ask AI to help them make a bomb. Now, AI is not supposed to help them, but we all know that you can get around things by asking straight away to Google or some other search, finding resources and creating them. And they said this is a big concern because it's usually a lone wolf, very difficult to prevent. Finally, closer to us, and why I thought it would be interesting for us in the broadband education world to think about an initiative where we would tell people as they come online, and one of the 300,000 new families that are going to be wired to always on internet, what should they be thinking about to be personally best practices as far as cyber hygiene. And Kelly had materials, and there's a website called Shields Up, Guidance for Families. And kind of the headlines we all know, but most people don't. Make sure you're using multi-factor, so just loss of your password isn't enough to take money from your account. Keep your software updated, particularly browsers, because they are always being updated and they're always vulnerable. There's a contest every year, and last year a group up in Vancouver won it, and it's $1 million prize. Every year, though, every single browser gets breached, and every time somebody wins money to do it. So that it's coming up in February, and we're going to try and put a team together to see if we can win some of that money. Think before you click. Did you really buy something from PayPal? Did you expect this Amazon package? Because they're getting so clever with the new assisted phishing that sometimes it's difficult to tell, especially during the holiday season. They were pointing out that every season has the special phishing. So, for instance, we just had open enrollment for healthcare, so there were lots of phishing around healthcare. Finally, use a password manager and unique passwords. We all laugh at this, but there was an ambassador for Lebanon, and his password was 1234556. Anyway, it's a big opportunity for the broadband initiative. It would be great if we had a team of people that went around and helped people. And I think that this is something that is worth funding. And I think a group of us that meet monthly are looking at going ahead and applying for some funding to help do this in the new families that are coming online. I think that was basically the story. And if you want, there are lots of resources available. This is my other job and the Center for the Future. We're an incubator accelerator, and we have started, I think we've got 24 little companies started and 30 new jobs, which isn't big for Maricopa County, but for Northern Arizona, if we get a new high-paying job, it's a big deal. So hope everyone's having a great holiday and season, and I'm going to stop sharing.
Thanks, John. So, John, do you want to take a minute to talk about I guess Microsoft's really pushing people to go to passkeys rather than passwords. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, MFAs and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, there are a lot of different ways. We've had IBM in 2014 said the death of the password, and that was 10 years ago now. So there have been lots of initiatives. What has happened is that there was a standard now for having a device. It looks like a USB drive, which acts as a fob. The government already uses what's called a CAC, an access card. And for a lot of government agencies, you don't have your card, you don't go to work because you can't get into the building, you can't access your computer, you can't do anything. So the private sector and the world is realizing that having a third factor, which is something you have, a device like a fob or a card, makes things more secure. And Microsoft is one of the participants in this new standard. And there will be many companies that are going to have these standards-based fobs or keys. But multi-factor authentication, there's typically three: something you know, which is the password; something you are, like your eyeballs or your fingerprint; or something you have, which is a fob or a passkey. If you have all three factors, the odds are that a bad guy can get all three of those factors is minuscule. So you are safer online.
Okay. Any other questions? So Elena, you want to share the comment that you put in the chat?
Yeah, hi. No, just that, a lot of what John just talked about is work that Common Sense is doing with organizations across the country and trying to work here in Arizona to provide a lot of this information to schools, to families, because you got to start, we focus on kids and families, and you have to start young. Kids need to understand from day one what all of this means as far as digital footprint and identity and all of these things, identity theft, how to, what it is, how to avoid it. Because, obviously cell phones aren't going away. Social media is not going away. So they have to learn young. And so with our digital citizenship curriculum, that's what we do. So that's all I was saying is that it was great, John, to be at the event. It was really nice I didn't get a chance to talk to you, but it was really nice to connect with the local folks that are working on this stuff. So I was really glad that I went, and we have some meetings set up already. So yeah, so that's all I was going to say.
That's what we love to hear, because there are great networking events, because we oftentimes work in our own little stovepipe, and yet there's many people working on similar or related things. So thanks for sharing.
John, Jerry is still with CISA, isn't he? Or not?
Jerry?
Okay, can't remember his last name offhand.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
That's the Arizona representative.
Yeah, so see, Arizona is part of Region 9, and we had different people there. We used to only have like one person as the head of the Arizona CISA, but now I think they've got a whole team. They must have a dozen people working in different areas. For instance, there was a guy that worries about chemical, another person Kelly Hills was there. She's the cyber person. So like many agencies, they've really grown up. And Jen Easterly was here in Arizona about 2 months ago, and they're going to come back in the spring and do another roadshow, I guess. She's the director of CISA nationwide. And so they paid attention to what we're doing here in Arizona because of the growth. And a lot of the effort with chips and semiconductors and all this.
John, are you hearing anything? I haven't seen anything, but that doesn't mean anything about what's on the horizon next year with the new administration regarding CISA and security. We hearing
No.
any rumors or anything at this point?
Well, the only thing that's true is that I think we are recognizing and will continue to recognize with the new administration the importance of cybersecurity and particularly for critical infrastructure. And that means water, power, electrical, natural gas. These things are so important. And Arizona, of course, is a leader in this, in that talk about a state that cares about water. We do. And we also care about electricity because in the summertime, I've heard it gets hot in Phoenix. And and that takes a lot of power to cool down all those houses and buildings.
Okay. Thanks, John. Any questions or comments? Barney, how does this sync with what you guys are doing?
Find my mute button. Yeah, so obviously it will connect into what Paul's been working on in the cybersecurity and the sort of general education aspects of what we're working on. Yeah.
Barney, just want to tell people quickly about who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm Barney McCabe. I'm Executive Director of the Institute for Computation and Data Enabled Insight here at the University of Arizona. We've got a couple of programs that we're working on. One we've heard about, excuse me, on AI Core, and that is getting some students background in some of the AI technologies and then getting them out into the community to demonstrate how those technologies can advance businesses locally and some other areas around that. And then Paul Wagner, who works with us also, is at the College of Applied Science and Technology, does a lot in cybersecurity. He's got some Google funding, primarily aimed at education, as well as some consulting work for businesses and communities around to sort of how to shore things up.
Okay, thanks, thanks, Barney. Anybody have anything else that they want to share? Going once? Going twice? Actually, let me check something here real quickly. Oh, so just a quickie. Mala's not here today. She is on vacation. But if she was here, I'm sure she would share with you that John Windhausen, who has been the executive director of Shelby, the Schools, Health, and Libraries Broadband Coalition, is leaving. And so they will be looking for a new director and for the next year. So he's been a tireless advocate at the national level for all broadband and security related issues. So I'm disappointed to hear him leaving, but I'm sure Mala would have shared that if she was here. And then we're going to hear next week, or not next week, but our next meeting from Sharika about the STEM grant that they received. So any other, Elena, you want to just bring people up to date again, just a reminder about the Net Inclusion Conference coming up? Are you there, Elena?
Yeah, I just can't find my mute button because I'm on my yeah, just a reminder, we're in the process right now. I'm on the local planning committee with some other folks, I think, on the call. And so we're in the process of whittling down the final proposals for all of the presentations and all of the panels and conference sessions, et cetera. So that will be decided on and finished. We're working with ASU and Lev Gonick. For those of you that don't know Lev, he's ASU's CIO. And we want to do a little something with him and Angela Seifer, who is the executive director of the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, NDIA. For those of you that don't know, the conference is going to be held in Arizona in May. Unfortunately, it was cheaper then. So we have about, they're expecting about 1,400 to 1,500 people. So it will be the largest conference. And it'll be the first one. This one is in the Gila River Indian community. This will be the first one on Indian reservation land. So we're going to really, the theme is really going to highlight and focus on Native American culture and some other opportunities that we'll have. It'll be at the Gila River Wild Horse Pass Casino and Resort Conference Center. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot more information that I could share, Steve. Just, go to the NDIA website for all of the basic information on registering. Unfortunately, the early bird registration is over already. But it's a great conference for anybody who is involved in, thanks, Kelly. For anybody that's involved in digital equity, digital inclusion, closing the digital divide, all of those things. There's going to be a lot of focus from looking at the proposals because I was on that committee. There'll be some focus on AI and some other areas that we've not looked at before at NDIA. So yeah, thanks, Kelly. She just put the link in for the information on the conference. So yeah.
Thanks, Elena. Okay, I think we're about done for today. Anybody have anything else that they would like to share? If not, obviously we've got the holidays coming up, so we will not be meeting again until January the 9th. Long time away, long time break for us. But I wish you all healthy and safe holidays and look forward to seeing you in the new year. I guess since we've got just a couple more minutes, I'd like to hear any thoughts people have about how we can, what you'd like to see us do with AZBSN, any new ideas, thoughts that I can take into account in planning for next year. Thoughts, comments? Okay, well, then I guess we're done. So happy holidays again, safe and happy holidays, and we'll see you in the new year.
Thanks, Steve. Happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.